Hetapoo
I
Queen.
guess you stepped in the building. Well, all righty. Well, let me just watch it here. I could be in place. We have a divine, well, let me just say, this is divine Kheperah. And Kheperah represents transformation. And that's what Kheperah Kearse is all about. Sacred woman, yes. Kheperah Kearse is all about transformation. And what she's going to share with you is levels of transformation in these times, how we can transform to our higher self and pass right through this experience as a really profound lesson of life. Without further ado, my beloved Kheperah from all the Global Segment Village, we all love you and support you. Let's give her a round of applause.
Wow, Queen. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for allowing me to be in this space with you. Thank you for all of your teachings. I am so honored to be a sacred woman, and especially at this time. Being a sacred woman has truly changed my life, has saved my life. Being a sacred woman has preserved the beauty of my youth into my 50s. I'm so grateful.
Gorgeous.
And I'm your divine reflection. And so this time is a really interesting time because all that we have learned, all that we have experienced, all that we have been taught, you taught us to respect all of the spiritual practices, whether it was religion or spiritual rituals, because they all have truth. And so everything that we've been taught and learned, now is the time to act on what we've been taught. It's like classes in session, as one of my other teachers has been said. And so 3 words that come up for me, because you know I like to put it in song because we hip hop. Align, alkaline, remind. Say it with me. Align, alkaline, remind. One more time. Align, alkaline, remind. One more time. Align, alkaline,
remind. Okay, do it again.
Align, alkaline, remind. So when we think about how to really flow in these times, how to really be in ma'at or maintain balance, I think of 3 things: getting in alignment, staying alkaline, and reminding ourselves of who we are and tapping into that divine information so that we can navigate. And so you have taught us, you know, first and foremost, it's like when you're driving a car, if the car is going off the road or the road is bumpy, it doesn't matter who didn't fill the potholes in that moment. It doesn't matter whether there was some conspiracy or, you know, because that's what people are getting caught up in right now. What matters is you want a smooth ride. You want to just get the wheels in alignment so you can have a smoother ride on this road. Right? So the first thing that you've taught us to do to get in alignment is to breathe. And you know what I learned and what came to mind in my meditation is that the breath is the one living entity that is available to all of us everywhere at the same time. It has no beginning and no end, and it serves all of us, no matter what our race, our gender, our nationality, our sexuality. So the breath is ever present or omnipresent. And as the breath is the source of life, if without the breath we have no life, that means the breath is omnipotent or all powerful. And as the breath, when we take it in, it gives us clearing of the consciousness so we can think. Then the breath is also all knowing and omniscient. And so when I really think about the power of the breath, I think of the Creator. I think of God. I think of the all-knowing, ever-present, all-powerful being that keeps me alive, or the entity. You don't believe in a being, right? And so when we think about what's happening with coronavirus, it is an attack of the breath, because we've done all we can to honor the breath. What we put in our mouths, what we say out of our mouths, how we block our flow. And so the first thing to do is get in alignment, right? Really get in alignment. And what that looks like is connecting with the breath. And so I won't spend a whole lot of time on that because you've talked about breath of life. You've had folks on the call who've talked about breathing. But just for those who may have missed it, the one thing I will say that I do when I'm feeling the turbulence inside of me, when I'm feeling nervous or uncertain, I take a breath and I hold it. And I hold it for as long as I can until my heart slows down and the blood flows so that I can be in alignment. Because I just want a smoother ride in this, right?
Take us through that. Take us through that a little bit. Take us through that because I felt it. I love that.
Give thanks. So the first thing you want to do is, most people don't even realize how we're breathing, how the mechanics of that work. So we put our hand on our belly and just feel that when we breathe in, the belly fills up with air like a balloon. And when we breathe out, the belly goes in. And so if you put your hand on your belly and just take a deep breath in, and fill the balloon with air, fill it until it comes up into the respiratory and then into the chest, and hold it for 3, 2, 1. And then breathe out slowly all through the nose as you have taught us, breathing out slowly through the nose until the belly button touches the rib cage and all the air is out. And continue to do that. So that's how I get in alignment.
I love what you did. I felt you going just like that.
Give thanks. But so to get in alignment, then like you got in alignment. Now let me get something alkaline. So you always think about that. And I don't, I didn't have the sexy with it, but I have my mason jar. I juiced some ginger, lemon, and I was just drinking that in some warm water. And I was like, oh, I need a fancy cup, but I didn't have one. So I'm working with my mason jars. But doing something or consuming something alkaline. So that could look like just warm water if you don't have any fancy tools, some lemon, breath of life, as I am probably one of the biggest champions of breath of life. But that peppermint and eucalyptus, again, you want to break up the blockages and keep the flow, right? And so even as you consume alkaline beverages, you want to do alkaline things like dance and move, stretch, and look at art and experience art and create art or listen to music and tap into the things that we used to do as children that made us feel good. All children want to do is run and draw and everything, so just the freedom to be in this time. I was speaking to one of my others, my embed head from Sacred Woman of 2000. So I'm a 20-year Sacred Woman. And she was saying that she misses going out and dancing. I was like, girl, put on some music and get up and dance and get rest. We have to take on the way in order for the way to be made, right? There is no way to freedom. Freedom is the way. Right? And so we have to act as if. And so once we get in alignment, once we make the body alkaline, then we can reach a clearing. That's when we can tap in and tune into what's going on in the mind. Because there's a saying, there's a meme that says you can eat all the kale, you can drink all the alkaline water, but if you don't clear what's going on in your mind, you will still be unhealthy. So I would like to focus a little more on what's going on in the mind, because many of our people are consumed. When you've taught us about Sekhmet and that fire, they are consumed with fear. And so I just want to speak to what happens from a scientific perspective and a spiritual perspective of how we can ease that and work and use it to work with us to keep flowing. So the first thing is, just from a scientific perspective, when we're afraid, the brain thinks, oh my gosh, we got to fight or we have to flee. So it begins to release hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. We've all heard this. We've watched every YouTube. We know this for sure. But what a lot of people may not know is that the immune system lives in the gut. And so when you're afraid, the blood rushes to the arms and legs. Have you ever seen Popeye when he eats the spinach and then the arms pop out with the muscles? So when you get afraid, the blood goes to the arms and legs, because it's like, what we got to do? Fight or run, as as Biggie would say, right? So it's ready to fight or to run. And when those things don't happen, if you've ever noticed when you were very upset, you're trembling because the blood is there. The blood's like, what we got to do? What are we going to do? What happened? Right? So that's what's happening. And then if you continue to stay in that state, the blood stays there, but then that means it's left the immune system, it's left the gut. So the immune system is vulnerable, which is why stress is not healthy for us, which is why they tell cancer patients to really make sure that you keep your stress levels down, because you need to keep the immune system strong and filled with healthy blood that's full of oxygen and nutrients. So that's one of the main reasons that we want to really be mindful of the stress and where we're sending our blood. Not just that we need to keep the blood clean, but that we need to keep the blood in the places it needs to go to keep us strong and alive. Because